God Family Country, welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be looking at a couple of different things on the agenda. First and foremost, I want to give you an update about Chosen. I'm following the season pretty heavy as it's releasing in theaters, and they had a bit of some bad news, so I wanted to react to that with you guys. But with the bad also comes the good, and I wanted to also offer a perspective that I think that I've been thinking about for a long time, and it has to do with us as a group of people who believe in Jesus Christ, whether you call yourself Christian, Catholic, Orthodox, Baptist, Seventh-day Adventist. Yeah, I think that collectively there are some things that we could definitely come together on. So let's hear what Dallas has to say.
Get you things as fast as possible, which is why this is the bad news part of what I'm delivering, which is that we cannot release season 4 to streaming now. And there.
Oh, I know a lot of you guys were waiting for that. Me as well. I wanted to watch it with my family. I was contemplating going in the theater. I'll definitely donate my theater ticket to the cause after hearing this. But I definitely will be waiting until it streams, unless I can convince my daughter to sit through. Well, you know what I thought about actually was just going and seeing episode 1 or episode 2. And if it got too long, just be okay with the little bit that I saw and say, you know what, hey, that was a lot. We'll kind of go from there, because there's only so long that you could sit in a theater when you have a kid. And I wanted her to kind of see this as well with me. It is an important staple in the house. It has definitely opened up to me kind of who Jesus. You're looking at the word. There's no context in it, so this artistic freedom that's being used to kind of go around that time, and it was very meticulous. There was a lot of thought put into it. It really just peels the layers back on what it might have looked like back then, and it opens up a lot by being able to visually see it. You know, we are visual people, and although I have a great imagination and I have in wonderment read the word and wondered what it was like, it's nice to see a collective of minds come together and put together what they think it looked like, or what it could have looked like, and did their best that they could, prayerfully so. So it's not going to be streaming. I'm not happy about that. I'm sure Dallas isn't happy about that. And I'm going to offer you a perspective at the end of us watching a little bit of this to try to see how simple this is and how easily this could have been avoided.
There will be a delay longer than we anticipated and hoped for. There are some legal matters that we are dealing with right now that are hopefully being resolved. And they are, in fact, the goal is to have them resolved so that we can long-term and short-term better serve you, ensure the show remains free forever and gets to over 1 billion people, and also allows us to be sustainable forever. And for
you see what Dallas is trying to do in his vision here. He's trying to make sure that everybody gets paid. It's a business, so it can sustain itself, but at the same time, everybody could watch it for free.
For the show to be free forever, and for us to serve you better in every way that we can. And we are in this process, not only in the legal system, the process that we're going through, but also financially and logistically. We are coming up with ways that we can give this show to you quicker once this is resolved, which I will share shortly.
And I'm sure there's a lot of investors, and investors are usually in it for one reason and one reason only. They want to make money and they want to get paid. What I can kind of gather from this whole thing is that they're trying to work out the business and make the business model work. And this is a hard business model if you're in business at all. Just think of, you're handling marketing, that costs money. You're handling production, costs money. You're handling the employees, whether temporary actors or ongoing people. Those people need to get paid. Dallas Jenkins needs to get paid. I'm sure he's not getting paid what he should be getting paid as a producer. Also, how do you set it up for success to be a legacy type movie? Because if you really think about The Chosen, it's one of the best movies probably since, The Passion of the Christ. I did have the Bible series. I never completely finished it. I forget which DVD it was. It was a pretty good and well put together set, but this is just something that's special. This was meant to evangelize. So how do you have something that is a successful business that can evangelize for free? And if you are in business at all, just coming up with a strategy, and every evolving strategy at the end of the day, that's not an easy feat. And yeah, you're going to have work to do. God doesn't just, as far as I've seen, just things don't just fall into people's lap. And by doing nothing, by sitting crisscross applesauce, God doesn't just, just going to drop this in your lap. So I bet Dallas is feeling like Moses right now when he was walking everybody through the desert and was trying to make it all work. And hopefully, and I'm pretty sure he's got like a good counsel, a good team around him that's able to support him, give him wise counsel. So just know that if anybody's upset, get over yourself. And definitely there's some things you could be doing besides be getting upset that this hasn't released and on schedule. I guess there was some pushback on him because they didn't meet their dates. And then you don't meet your dates, that makes everybody worry as well. So there's a lot of pressure. And I'm not talking about worrying as the fans. I think that they will stay. I'm not going anywhere. And I'm wondering, hey, how can I help? I think really you got to worry about investors, companies, et cetera, et cetera. And so could he probably get injected with some money from certain companies? Yes, but would they be able to keep it free forever and be able to keep the mission and be able to allow this to be an evangelizing tool? Which what this is a modern day gospel track that you could watch for free and is really cool and entertaining. You remember back in the day they used to pass out the gospel track, Where Are You Gonna Go? And it'd be like a little comic. This is kind of like that, but in a digital form. So Dallas is trying to set up a legacy, a generational piece of digital evangelism with which is a story about Jesus Christ in the New Testament. How awesome is that? So we really need to come together as the body of Christ on this matter. Let's keep watching on.
I unfortunately can't share many more details about the legal situation than I am right now, but I can assure you that it is, we are doing everything in our power to get this taken care of as soon as possible.
And you know that he had to get money from somewhere. He was getting money from, I think he was working in conjunction with Angel Studio. I don't know if they were just the distribution or if he's still going to be with them or not. Again, I don't have any inside knowledge, but just thinking about everything, I believe they're Mormon. And so I didn't even see anybody who was able to kind of spin this off, hold it, and help out. That was even in the Christian realm, which was a disappointing revelation. And at the point, and one of the main reasons why I even started my channel was to just work towards building something that is in our realm, networking and working together. So a lot of times you will see me speak on other people's work, like The Chosen and things that I do approve of because I want to help and I want to be a part of the network. And it's not always about a profit. And really, if you are thinking as a businessman and for profit, you know that networking is a major part of it anyway. So it kind of is a win-win anyways when you're thinking like that. So I just wanted to speak on that a little bit and we can move on.
Now, I want to share with you why we're in this situation, and it's vital for you to understand it. So I'm going to give you a few facts. Remember this, and I've shared this before, but this is important to be reminded of. We don't have a studio or a network with billions of dollars at their disposal.
Exactly. We don't have a studio or a network. We're on a Mormon site that runs Christian products. We're on Amazon, Netflix, and no offense to all of these businesses. I'm not trying to offend any of them. I'm just saying we don't collectively have something. And why, I have my own theories, and we can go into those later. But he's absolutely right. Everything, he's getting everything out of the mud. Everything, he's making something out of nothing. And it takes money to do that.
Disposal that they can share with us. And if they see that the show is starting to get successful, they can pour more into it, like what these media companies tend to do. And in order for our show to be free, and in order for Come and See, the nonprofit organization that helps contribute to the production and to the translation of the show, in order for them to translate it into hundreds of languages, and for us to market this show around the world, you have to be reminded that this costs tens of millions of dollars minimum every year.
Just to translate, tens of millions of dollars a year. I can just see all these moving parts here, and that's just the translation. And then that's got to get put into production. That's got to get attached to, all the videos. It's got to get matched. It's then got to get quality control, and it passes that. It's got to get screened, probably in that country, by somebody who's going to watch it and give feedback, things like that. There may be some small edits going back, and then redo that process and hopefully have it done and put it out for everybody to hear. Pretty much re-editing the video. And that's just the translation part.
Even though our production costs and our marketing costs and all that are much lower than the vast majority of shows that you watch, it is very, very expensive to pay cast and crew, to raise our production values each year, to make sure that we are keeping up competitively with all the other shows and movies that are out there, not only for your sake, but for our team.
Exactly. The days of us cringing through a cheesy Christian production, for a lot of people, it's not going to happen. They're just not going to do it. This is digital media. This is digital creation. It's got to have some sort of quality to it. And he's making one of the greatest stories in the Bible, the greatest story of our salvation. It is very important. It's under a microscope, and you'd want it to look good. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I remember when earlier in my faith, when I had got saved as a younger adult, when I was watching as a teen, kind of turning 20, stuff like that. When I was looking for Christian stuff to watch, and they had, TV in, and sometimes they would play movies. They would just be so old, and I would want to watch it, and I kind of would, and you kind of had to get into this mode of acceptable boringness, where you kind of were okay with certain things being a certain way, just to be able to get a little bit of entertainment, because we came from Hollywood action-packed movies, and then had to go to stuff that was super dated, or maybe the acting wasn't as good. I don't think there's nothing wrong with speaking on that, and I think those people were great for what they did. But we at least need to survive. You need to be honest with yourself. And I think that The Chosen coming out was it hits on all marks. The quality's there, the production's there, the acting's there. The accuracy is there. They're very mindful and protective of it, which people in Hollywood, they don't care. If they were in charge of this, they'd probably do the Jay-Z version of it, right? And we all saw that, where the guy saw Jesus and then wants to be like a prophet. We see all the blasphemy and opportunity coming out, and Jay-Z doesn't even need money. He has enough money for his children's. At that point, you kind of see people doing things just for their own agenda. I totally understand where Dallas is coming from, and I hope everybody else does understand where Dallas is coming from.
And so movies and television shows and media is extraordinarily expensive. And so the fact that we don't have a big studio or network behind us to finance all that,
So who do you have to finance you? We're going to find out. Who's financing this? This is all crowdfunded, the majority of it.
You have to also remember that separate from production, separate from what we do each year just to make the show itself, we have a company, The Chosen. We have a company that has over 60 full-time employees, and that allows us to do our international efforts, our social media, and our behind the scenes, our legal, our financial. We have a board. We have to be SEC compliant, as you hopefully know, because we are a public company. All of these things, just leaving aside the production, just to keep our...
You see how transparent this man's being with you right now? How transparent Dallas is being with you? This guy's being super transparent. He's letting you know pretty much what goes on at a production company that's producing a movie, and he's giving you a glimpse. There's a lot more, but he's giving you a condensed milk version of what's going on over there. And I can already see he's involved in all of it like a CEO. And like you said, he's got a board there. That means that those guys are all handling specific, very important chunks. This is a massive team right here. And they're doing great so far.
Company going is extraordinarily expensive. And marketing, think about the fact that we have to promote this show and get eyeballs on it all over the world. That costs millions of dollars here and around the world. So with all of that, all of those things that you have to remember that we are responsible for, we're a free show. You have the opportunity to watch the show for free.
There's no commercials, which I would be okay with commercials, honestly. And I don't know who wouldn't want to market to Christians. There's supposed to be 60% of us left in the U.S., so, I mean, who doesn't want to market to 60% of the population?
Free. Now, here are some sobering facts about the fact that we want to maintain being a free show, but also want to make sure that we have to spend and finance all of these extraordinary efforts that you're seeing both in production, marketing, translations, and our social media, and keeping this going and keeping these eyeballs growing all over the world. So here's a few sobering facts. Number one, we are one of the most watched shows in the world. That's actually the good part of it. That's not sobering. That's great. But
did you hear that? Out of the billionaire companies, little old Chosen. I don't think they're little, but I'm just saying, compared to them monetary wise, reach wise, distribution wise, connection wise, who's giving access, those gatekeepers, those doorkeepers, out of all of that, one of the number one watch shows in all of the world. Who doesn't want to advertise on that? I hope Dallas can see the writing on the wall, because this is, of course, what the whole point of my show is as well eventually. But really, somebody needs to just go ahead and create. We had PureFlix, but it got sold, and who knows what's going to happen with it. It had a rough run. It was a good start. It's something some of the bigger ones back in the day had an opportunity to do, some of the bigger channels, but they never really took advantage of it. I saw TBN they were mainly preaching, things like that. They would do movies every now and then, but they never really built that out. They had the opportunity, and maybe they didn't. I wasn't on the inside, but I never saw that as their mission, and it may have not been. I saw that. After that, I saw PureFlix come out, and that was started by a Christian actor. I don't know his name off the top of my head. Then it was sold to Paramount. I don't know how that's going to go. I just don't trust a secular company to run. You don't want a secular company running a Christian company, just point blank, period. There needs to be a lot of things in place legally, and I don't think that PureFlix was in a financial position at that time to be able to put those things into play. Like, for example, and I've used this before in the past, Hobby Lobby. The Hobby Lobby CEO is not going to pass down Hobby Lobby to the family members, something of that nature. I don't know what that entirely means, if they're just going to benefit financially from it, whatever. Not my concern. what my concern was, well, okay, you have Hobby Lobby and you have all of these Christian aspects to it, where you can go there and buy a cross, you can go there and get religious books, you can go there and get things that have Bible verses on them, and may not sound like a big deal to you, but that's not really that much anymore at a store. You go to Walmart, there's not a lot of, Christian paraphernalia available. These last standing places like Hobby Lobby, what Hobby Lobby could do is Hobby Lobby could write and say, hey, I'm going to sell the company, and here are the guidelines, and they're non-negotiable, and somebody will buy the company with the guidelines. And I kind of went into that. One of my first recordings, I went into that when I talked about Carl Karcher and what was going on with Carl's Jr., which he was a devout Catholic in Anaheim, California. He would go to Mass every day, and his headquarters was right next to the church that he was a part of. And then a little bit after he dies, a couple of years down the line, you got people putting out the devil burger at his restaurant. It's just ironic. So, Hobby Lobby, if he doesn't put key things into play while the company's in a position to do so, they may lose that chance. So I see what Dallas is talking about, and I see his vision. I see him trying to protect the integrity of this, and that is really important.
But fewer than 5% of the viewers pay for it or donate to the Come and See Foundation. Think about that. So less than 5% of people all over the world who watch this show contribute something financially towards.
Wow. So less than 5% of people have paid for it.
The show. Now, that's actually in some ways good news. It's sobering, but it's actually in some ways good news, because it means that there's so many people who are getting to watch the show for free, because some people wouldn't be able to watch it if it wasn't free. If you weren't donating to Come and See, if you weren't purchasing tickets to see it in theaters, or purchasing gifts, or any of the other ways that we somehow are able to generate income, if that wasn't taking place, then these people wouldn't be able to see it free. So it's both good news and sobering news at the same time. Here's another sobering fact. A movie released to theaters makes so much more in 1 month than we do. Not only in 1 month, but sometimes even in a year. Now, again, let me give you an example. Our former partner, Angel Studios, released Sound of Freedom. Remember that movie? And in the United States alone.
Okay, so it looks like that they were partners before with Angel Studios. And like I said, they had to partner up with Angel Studios, because we didn't have any network that was strong enough. We just didn't have anybody to go to. And they were willing to help Dallas at the time. And they were super cool about it.
It grossed in theaters over $180 million. This is information that you can find online. And total internationally, when you add up everything, it was over $250 million in gross receipts. That's just in theaters alone. Now, here's the sobering fact. That movie in theaters alone.
And mind you, people hated on that movie. And they blocked it. And it still did that well. And here we are. You're watching the actors go on The View, still tongue-in-cheek about Jesus and like what color he is. And some people, it's really important to them. I mean, obviously, she made a comment about Jesus being blonde hair, blue-eyed. I don't think Jesus was blonde hair, blue-eyed. I don't really care what color Jesus was. I'm just glad Jesus was Jesus. So the Son of God, Word, came down in flesh, because we need that. But to think of the open reception of it, and the fact that so many people are saying that they want to watch it, I can see this being a big success in the box office.
Generated more gross in just a couple months than The Chosen has ever generated gross-wise in an entire year. And guess what? Here's what's even more sobering. With a movie, the money that comes in can be kept. With us, a show that's multiple seasons, we must keep spending money that is generated for the next season. As I talk to you right now, we have 3 more seasons left in theaters alone. Now here's the sobering fact. That movie in theaters alone generated more gross in just a couple months than The Chosen has ever generated gross-wise in an entire year. And guess what? Here's what's even more sobering. With a movie, the money that comes in can be kept.
That's important. So maybe I will go and just watch that first episode. I thought, hey, I'll pay for it when it comes to streams. But now that he's saying that, maybe we do our part. And hey, maybe we don't want to see the whole thing. We just go and watch one episode. It's still supporting it. They're not going to hold it against you. You didn't sit there for that long amount of time. He makes a good point right there. Really changed my mind about waiting for it in theaters. I think I'm going to go see it. I'm going to go see it.
With us, a show that's multiple seasons, we must keep spending money that is generated for the next season. As I talk to you right now, we have 3 more seasons left, along with all the translating and marketing and keeping our company going just for this show alone. Think about that.
Think about that. So if you love The Chosen, and I know people love The Chosen because every time I do videos about The Chosen, people watch them and they get a lot of views. And I'm a brand new channel. So I'm going to tell you this. If you watch The Chosen and you're listening to me right now, all you have to do is go to The Chosen, copy that YouTube, that trailer, and share it on your social media. You might share it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Email it to somebody, however you want to send it. I can see, and here's where I'm going to get into. I'm going to save it because I have a statistic. I love, being business minded. I have a little bit of some numbers and stuff to share with you. I'm going to let him finish cooking, and then I'm going to tell you about it.
So we've done 4 seasons already, but there's 3 more to go. And all of the things that I mentioned to you previously, just now, about all the costs that we have, continue. We can't just take the receipts from a theatrical release or any kind of release and just go, wow, that was successful. That's a big profit. That's great. It has to keep going.
Yeah.
So to be very clear, and this is very important, it is extremely expensive to be free. And without us getting creative and without us figuring out ways to generate income so that we can...
Sorry guys, I had to fix my color. I was like, what's wrong with my camera? But I'm like, what's wrong with my camera? And I fixed it, so we're good. Let's keep watching.
Can be sustainable and profit and, have a career. Our previous path wasn't proving to be sustainable. And so we have to keep coming up with ways for this to be sustainable and for you to be able to see this show free. So just talking about our recent theatrical release. In fact, right now you can still see some of the episodes in theaters. Bear in mind that just this alone, the theaters get a large chunk of the gross receipts, the distributor gets a large chunk of the gross receipts, and then when we get a chunk of the gross receipts, that's just a portion of the costs of our company alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, Business 101, this is gross versus net. I could tell you I made $1 million last year. That was gross. I didn't mean anything. What did I net? If I'm making pennies on each item I sold, and I only sold 3 items, I might have made 9 cents. Now, if I sold 1 million items, I made 3 cents gross. Net. That's $3 million. So understand, bringing in all this money, it's all got to get paid. Not gross. After everything is paid, you're going to get left with the net. And that's the profit. That's the bottom line. That's what's important. That's business. That's what's, even for a production show about Jesus Christ in the New Testament, that's what's needed. So Dallas is cooking here. One thing I can say, he's always been really transparent, and I'm really enjoying. This doesn't scare me. this is an opportunity, and he realizes it's an opportunity, and he's going out to his fans, and I'm just hoping everybody else sees it as an opportunity as well. This is an opportunity to show up and show out for everybody.
So when we hear from you sometimes, I've seen a couple of comments on social media, that, The Chosen is selling out, or they're doing it just for the money.
It's the same people who go to the store and buy food with money. You're selling out. Go pick it from a tree. Like, doesn't that sound silly? Like, whoever says that, and maybe I need some grace here. Maybe those people aren't in business. So I may not understand, maybe they have a job where they don't see how a company runs, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe they're not seeing that. So I'm going to but come on.
This theatrical release, and they're delaying the streaming. They're delaying the free streaming because they're just trying to make as much money as they can.
Of course. I mean, you want to make as much money as you can so you can finish the next 3 seasons. And why aren't you giving them as much money as they can? I mean, you want to support something, but you'll support your Starbucks habit. Starbucks is thank you. But like we get so weird when it comes to this. And it's so silly, and it's just disheartening a lot of times. We really need to change our mindset, because I remember the first time I was introduced to The Chosen. Excuse me, I rubbed my eye. The first time I was introduced to The Chosen, it said somebody paid for me to watch my first season, and it showed like the person's name or whatever. And I was like, that kind of changed my heart as well. I was like, wow, someone just paid money. And like, I think there was a time I wasted it too. Like, I watched part of it, but I had to watch it again. I mean, someone had to redonate money for me to watch it. I'm just proud of The Chosen and what they're doing. And I guess I guess I can see, I don't know why Dallas even says it. Maybe he thinks these people are coming from a genuine place. I find it hard to believe that people don't understand it, but I just have my understanding. I have a very, I'm from the business world. I understand business, and I'm from marketing. I have a marketing company, and I understand how this all works and ties in. So when he's speaking, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And I think that most people that are speaking out of ignorance, and not what I would say is purposeful ignorance. I think maybe they just don't know about how businesses are ran and how things happen. Like, money is this. What I was thinking about today when I was working out, and I was thinking about making this video, is that you can't currently, God came down, his only begotten son, Jesus, the word of God in the flesh, was born. Everything else that we've done, like for the church, yes, have we had miracles, blessings, healings? We absolutely have. As far as everything we've done in the church, like building stuff, passing out tracts, throwing concerts, evangelism, all that took time, and people volunteered their time, which is a form of currency. And if they didn't have those volunteers, they would have to pay people, which would cost money, which would mean they would need to make money. And these pastors need to live. They have to buy food and gas and clothes, and those things cost money. So we need to stop demonizing money. What I was thinking was, money, they say the root of all evil, a man and his ideas and what he does with money. I don't think money itself is evil. I think it's mammon anyways, and I'm not really sure. I think that translation translates a little bit differently than what most people think. But the point of the matter is that you need money to make money. This needs a certain amount of money. You don't think that's true? But everybody who's doing anything right now, all of the churches across the world, are receiving some sort of money And that's how they're able to do what they do. Everywhere, period. Even the Bibles we have that are printed, they have to be bought to pay somebody to print it. So, I mean, we can go and break this down as far as we need to break it down. You need money to make money. And that's the form of currency that we have to be able to get things. So I don't understand why we're still having this conversation in 2024, and why we can't get on board. I get it, in certain circumstances, but now that he is breaking it down and sharing everything with you, I feel like he's said as much as he needs to say, but he'll probably say more, because Dallas is a really great guy, and he really has a really big heart, and he will just double back and triple back for somebody and say, look, this is the reason why. I'm so happy for him for that, and I applaud him for that. Let's continue to watch on.
I wish we made enough money on the theatrical to justify that accusation. Now, of course, I'm being lighthearted, but you just need to understand the financial and logistical ramifications of how all this works. And theatrical, as fun as that has been and as successful it has been, and by a lot of objective measurement, is just one way for us to try to be more sustainable and for us to be able to try to keep this show free and keep.
He's looking, I can tell in his boardroom, they're having a lot of discussions about ways to keep this sustainable. What he means is, product, distribution deals. I mean, this can turn into theatrical play that goes on the road. This is just off the top of my head, off the cuff, a couple ideas I could think of.
Our company going. Now, what's happening right now is that we are sorting out all of the things that we can do to get this show to you as soon as possible for free. So here's the good news. I'm going to give you some of the good news now, and what we're trying to do to make up for this situation, not only in the short term, but the long term. Now, for those of you who couldn't see it in theaters or who are overseas, now it is in theaters in some parts overseas, but there's a lot of you who just aren't able to see it in theaters, even if you wanted to. But I know many of you aren't able to see it even if you wanted to in theaters, because either A, you're overseas, or B, you can't afford to, or you don't live close enough to the theater. Now, keep in mind, it's not coming as fast as we wanted to. It's the free streaming, but it is coming to the Chosen app. So bear in mind, it will be coming to the Chosen app as soon as we can, and it will be free forever. So I've seen many comments in addition to what I just talked to you about, where it's saying things like, it's unfair. Those of us who can't watch it right now, that's unfair.
I can't. I'm going to just let him go. I'm going to let him go.
And I hear you. And I know that it's frustrating. And I know that it feels disappointing. But hopefully you can now understand that it costs hundreds of millions of dollars for this show to be free. For all 7 seasons to be free forever.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. Which throws my... So let me just share... That kind of throws my estimate off. So I was kind of thinking, like, how many churches are there in the U.S.? I wanted to use the U.S. because I'm not hating on, I love all the churches around the world. God bless y'all. You say, well, why are you picking the U.S.? Well, because I'm trying to use like this monetary formula of how much they need. So he said hundreds of millions. So I can still do this formula. So I said, well, I asked, the Hartford Institute estimates there's roughly 350,000 religious congregations in the United States. So there's 350,000 religious congregations in the United States. So this estimate, there's 314,000 Protestant, other Christian churches, 24,000 are Catholic and Orthodox church. Shout out to Catholics and Orthodox. What's up? So what I wanted to know is if you divided those churches by $50 million, which I thought maybe was what they needed to run it, that'd be $142 a church. Divide that by 20 people in a church. I think it was 20 or 60 people. It went down to like $6.35. And the reason why I think that's important, the calculator. 350,000. Oh, we got to do the 50 million first. divided by 350,000 churches. So every church in the United States, if they give $142, they would have $50 million right now. So they said hundreds of millions, so let's just do $500 million. Let's do 500 million. Divided by 350,000 churches. It's $1,428. Let's say 60-person average for the church. That's what they said. I haven't seen that. Maybe there's some small churches around here, though. So, you got the mega churches, small churches. Let's just see how much per person. $23. I got $23. What did I spend? $4 on lunch today. And I'll probably spend about $15 on lunch this week. I'm super frugal and I'm picky about what I eat. I don't like to eat crap, so a lot of times I'm just grabbing like a yogurt, overnight oats, things like that. I don't like the salt, fast food and stuff like that. So $23 for 500. That's 500 million. You only had to get that once for the whole year. Let's divide that by a year. How much is that? It's $1.98 a month. So what's my point? I hope it's self-explanatory. These things don't need to happen as the body of the church. And this is what I wanted to say about that, is that we are the weakest collectively in this market. You got the Mormons killing it. They're killing it. They know how to come together. You got Muslims, Jehovah's Witnesses. Have you seen their videos, their commercials? Oh, they're dominating. Have you seen Muslims? They're very collectively strong. And I think one of the issues that we have, and I really want to talk about this in a podcast, so I probably will. So if you hear this twice, it's just, it is what it is. Collectively, we need to get over ourselves. Jesus said, come as little children. And I don't see little children fighting over theology. Yeah, I get certain things are deal breakers, saying Jesus was half angel and, all these things. I got you. I'm with you. But as far as like we all believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and we believe in the Trinity, and we believe that he died for the forgiveness of sins, and Jesus said that to be born again you must come as a little child. I don't see a child arguing theology. I think theology is important, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's changed back and forth over the centuries by men who've spent their whole life studying it and studying the time and studying the culture, only to have it regurgitated and spoken by people in the future who do none of that, but just perpetuate that separation of unity of us as the body of Christ, and it just weakens us as a whole. And if we could just get over it, and that's one thing that I like about Chosen, and that's why I want to speak about it. I'm glad I remembered this while I was cooking this up for you. You got Jonathan, who plays Jesus, Catholic. You got Christians. You got Dallas Jenkins, Christian. You got people coming together and working on the Chosen TV series. And I think that's super awesome. That's proof that it could be done. We're doing it. Everybody's loving it. What's the problem? And so if we had something that brought us together like that, where we could go in the church and say, hey guys, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. We're all on the same page. What would be wrong with that? Everybody else is doing it. So I get it, and when I name off the denomination, don't think I'm picking on you. It just first comes to mind. Baptist, Protestant, Lutheran, Christian, Anglican. Are they still around? They still got some. We got Orthodox. We got Catholic. We should be able to commonly come together and do some things. I mean, really, at the end of the day, the inner fighting and the inner, what I see is I see the body of Christ as how Jesus spoke about it, is everybody's part of it. So while we're sitting here not being able to work collectively together for the greater good, I mean, and look, there are instances where we do come together and work for the greater good. So let's not think of the first thing for the reason to say why we don't want to work together, because I know a lot of people might be hearing this and being like, well, look, I'm not the debater. My more thing is trying to bring the body of Christ together. That's more of what I want. Not a one world religion, but the body of Christ as a collective, so that we could move a little bit. When you're in a position where you're organized, you always are going to be victorious. When you are unorganized, you aren't as victorious. And when you separate, you only have small victories here and there. Whereas I think if we could get over ourselves collectively, we could do some really great things. And that's what The Chosen, I think, has done for a lot of people. It's brought a lot of people together that probably wouldn't sit in somebody else's church. Am I lying? And I'm not talking about churches that are reinterpreting the Bible and, and I get that when you do that, we can break that down and now everybody's into a theology. Just basic common sense, just reading it, not trying to make a new theology or reinvestigate, double down on that. So let's continue on.
Ever costs hundreds of millions of dollars. So if you do have to wait a little, which I'm not denying is frustrating, and it's frustrating for me and it's frustrating for our team, but I hopefully think that you can realize it's a relatively small price to pay for the fact that you will eventually be able to see this free. Now, number two, we are working right now for season 4 to get to you in the short term and for this to all be sustainable in the long term.
I wonder if we can pay for somebody's ticket as well. Like that would, because I saw a comment that said, I want to see this, but I can't afford to watch it. And I was like, man, I wonder if I could buy that guy a ticket. Like I was thinking about that right now. I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but I thought about, like, I bet somebody saw that comment too. They might be like bawling and be like, oh, ticket? Nothing. I know that some people are on a budget. I wonder if we could buy somebody a ticket.
Come and See, the nonprofit that is helping finance production and translations, is going to be bringing it to churches in the next week or so. So along the bottom of the screen, you can see it's comeandsee.net/church, comeandsee.net/church. This is going to actually start March 13th. So you can check out that website for all the details and for maybe even an opportunity for you to bring it to your church. But side note, one thing I want to mention, that Come and See is also doing the same thing in prisons. So in prisons all over the country, they're going to get a chance to see this earlier. So sometime, and I believe it's March 13th, but sometime during this month, there are going to be opportunities to be able to see The Chosen in churches. So that's one way that we are trying to get it out to you in any way that we can as soon as possible. Another thing is we are extending some of our theatrical opportunities, so keep checking your local listings and another website. I hope you're taking notes on some of this stuff, but along the bottom of the screen, thechosenriseup.com, that has details, so you can keep checking that, keep checking your local listings. We are working with the theaters to keep extending this opportunity to see season 4. And we will be bringing it to theaters sometime in the near future, hopefully before the end of the month. Again, we're working all this out right now, but we're bringing it to you at a discount. So I know some of you are like, well, great, you're going to extend in theaters. That doesn't help me much because I can't afford to. We're trying to get this to you as soon as we can. We're trying to get it to you.
I want to speak on that. There are people right now who are watching this that genuinely can't afford it. And I get you. I totally understand that. If you've never been in that scenario, fine, that's not for you, but I totally get, like, you really can't. There's some people that really just don't want to give up. Like, if you could eat lunch out 3 times a week, you could go see this. Because McDonald's, Mickey D's, which I wouldn't eat there, go somewhere else first, but sorry, McDonald's. I guess I'm not going to get the plug now. But it's like $15 for a meal. Disgusting. But me, I'll go get, like, they have this chicken salad at this burger stand where they do the grilled chicken with the avocado, and they dice up the pepperoncinis for me. I pay $11. If I did that twice, I mean, this was released in February, so if you did that twice since February, you ate out, you know what I'm talking about. You went and got that Starbucks. That's not even fasting. That's just asking you not to eat crap and make yourself a sandwich for the day and go watch The Chosen. And why am I saying that? I know in church sometimes people cringe when people start talking like that, but a lot of times there's a lot of truth to that. And the reason why there's a lot of truth to it is because it's just your perception. And it's really that you've already picked what's more important to you. But if you're watching this and you're like, you know what? He's right. Usually 2 things will happen after that. The person will be like, he's right, and nothing, to be back to the same old same. And hey, we can't really do anything about that. But for the person that's like, you know what? You're right. I could spend $15 and go watch this movie. Which is, how much is this movie? So I think you could see what I'm seeing right now. So let's look. Oh, wow. It looks like they've updated some stuff here. Got the live streams. Let's look here. Finding my showtime. U.S. tickets. Okay. So let's say I want to see this Saturday. Let's go to the evening. $12.50. $12.50. Get you a good seat too. This look like one of those places that, yeah, this is that good seat right there. So you could go watch it for $12.50. Don't make me break that down over a month. If you eat out and you spend, go in there and drink some water before you go in. And you can't afford to buy no popcorn. $12.50 divided by 4 is $3.12. So if you buy lunch, even on a budget like me, when you're buying a banana, yogurt, this and that, it's $3. And I buy water all the time. Look, you can go. So let's start supporting. Let's stop making excuses. And if that made you cringe, that's okay. This isn't church. This is just a one Christian having a conversation with another Christian. And I'll hope that your friends are as real with you as I would want my friends to be with me. So let's keep watching.
As cheap as possible. And so we will be bringing it at some point to you at a discount. So you can have that opportunity to see it in theaters, which I know that some of you missed, like episodes 1 through 3, and then you wanted to see 4 through 6, but you couldn't catch up on 1 through 3. So we will be offering that opportunity again. Keep checking local listings, and we will continue to give you those details. Now, when it does come to streaming, which again, I don't want to be too lighthearted about this, but it is soon. I know you hear that word in the show a lot. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be as soon as we possibly can. I promise to give you updates the moment we have them. We will be releasing it faster, at a faster pace than we've normally done it in the past. So for example, last year we did one live stream per week, releasing it once per week in the app. This time we're going to be doing it twice a week. So we'll be releasing it twice a week in the Chosen app. And of course, every time we do a release, we do a big live stream where you can watch it with us. And we have this global event where everyone gets to watch it, discuss it together, and see it.
If you got a church, you got a voice, and maybe you don't got 1,000, 10,000 to invest in this, but you got a voice. That's worth more than $10,000. Like you can be help in this situation if you're an elder, and bring this up to your church and have people support this. I don't understand why we talk about the Super Bowl. I'm sure every church talked about the Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday. And I don't know how many pastors made jokes about Super Bowl church attendance. I had a great parking spot on Super Bowl Sunday. But even the church that pretended to kick a Bible and have people going crazy, which they didn't really kick a Bible. And I'm not familiar with what they do or don't teach, so miss me on that. But if we all talked about that, which has nothing to do with Jesus at all, it's just a sport. Some of the people there were Christians, and definitely there were people praying on both sides. But if we could all talk about that, we could talk about the Chosen. I feel like that's not a deal breaker. If you got a voice, you can make an investment in this situation. And believe me, I'm not trying to preach this like they're in dire need and they need to be helped. And a lot of people be like, well, the Lord's going to provide, I'm going to pray. That's good. And I think the Lord does provide. And the Lord does have a lot of times us do things as we're praying. We're not sitting there, again, crisscross applesauce, waiting for things to fall in our lap. David went and killed Goliath. Jesus went into the desert and fasted. Jesus went to the garden and prayed. Jesus walked up to the man, spit in the dirt, rubbed it in his eyes, and healed his eyesight. There's a lot of movement in the Bible where we're moving by faith a lot. Let's be aware of that, and let's see how we can move. And look, I'm challenging you guys to move, so I'm going to see what I can do as well. You know, I don't have a huge voice at my church, but I definitely am going to bring it up, and I'm going to say, hey, can we mention this and see what they say? And I'll let you guys know and kind of see what the feedback is, because they mention stuff all the time. I don't understand why we couldn't just mention a little clip about the Chosen. And it looks like they're going to release it for churches to watch, so maybe our church will be a part of that as well. I'm gonna reach out and see. Let's finish up here.
At the same time. And so make sure if you don't have the Chosen app, that you get that now. You just look up the Chosen and it's easy to find, and you get that app. That's where you will be able to watch it free. You will be able to join us in our live streams. We'll also be doing our live streams on social media, but that'll be twice per week. We will be accelerating the release strategy and the release plans so that you can be seeing it quicker to try to make up for this delay. We will also be offering the entire season at once. If you want to do it that way, if you don't want to wait, if you just can't, like I just can't wait for that twice a week thing, on DVD, and there will be a paid streaming option. So that if you're desperate to watch the whole thing at once, not wait at all, we will be providing you options to get.
I like Dallas's marketing. He's got everybody covered, and he's got something for everybody. I think that he's put together a really good team. I think if he didn't have the team he had, and believe me, they fumbled their way through this just like everybody else does. Even professionals are fumbling their way through it. He's at a point, though, this is a well-oiled machine, I can tell.
The entire season at once. And so stay tuned for that. Finally, come and see. You've heard this. You've hopefully heard of that wonderful foundation and organization in the past. Come and See is the nonprofit whose mission statement includes getting the Chosen to the entire world totally free and to have it translated in hundreds of languages. They've been doing that recently, they've been doing that currently, and they're going to continue to do that in the future. That will continue to be the case. And if you have donated to come and see, thank you. They wanted to make sure that I passed that along. And once we get past these legal matters.
Let's find out who Come and See is real quick. Let's go. Let's check this out. Get your popcorn ready. Season 4 is on the screen. You can play a supporting role in introducing the world to Jesus through The Chosen. And it looks like we got the CEO. Maybe we'll react to this another day. But just to kind of see it real quick, Come and See. We're on a mission to ensure that all 7 seasons of The Chosen are globally distributed, translated into 600 languages, and free for all. So it looks like he's teaming up with people. I mean, there's something in it for everybody. This is a good purpose. It's a good partnership. It's probably a good exchange, hopefully. And it looks like that you can make a donation. Look, if you want to give some Jeff Bezos cash, you can, I don't know. Maybe you win a lot on some crypto. But anyways, Come and See. That's the website. I'm going to go ahead and stop this reaction, and I'm going to go to my next reaction, see if we have any time. I want to show you guys a Christian that I found who I think is pretty cool.